how's it going? Today I want to talk about the second Pirates of the Caribbean motion picture, A Dead Man's Chest, which is a brilliant title, by the way. It's definitely one of my favourite titles in the franchise. I've got my cup of tea, so cheers. Grab a drink if you want to join me. And we can all simp over Bill Nye for a few minutes, how about that? Before we get onto the topic of him, though, we have the opening of the picture, which is incredibly dark. It's brilliant cinematography, but it's incredibly gothic. Very dark, as I said, and I heard from the DVD commentary actually that this wasn't meant to be the original opening, but they thought this was a lot more gripping in that it has many questions, seeing the aftermath. And I feel like it was the right decision because it gripped me and it looks fantastic. And then we get into another brilliant Captain Jack Sparrow entry where he's in the coffin, he's been thrown off the cliff into the sea, and you just see the crow get shot off the top of the coffin. And Jack emerges and it's hilarious and it's perfect. They said they didn't want to try and beat the entry of the first film because they knew how good it was. So they just thought, don't try and recreate it, don't try and beat it, just try and do another fantastic introduction, and they completely pulled it off. It did justice to the first one, and yeah, really well done. And then I want to talk about Bootstrap Bill, because we get introduced to him fairly early on in the film, which was a big surprise to me when I first saw it. I didn't think we'd ever meet Bootstrap. I thought he would just be a name that was introduced in the first film and then might get brought up occasionally. But he's a major role in this motion picture. The build-up is fantastic. It's very creepy. It's much less PG, this film, I believe. Like, within the first opening scenes, we're seeing a man's eyes being gouged out by birds, so that much is immediately apparent, I feel. But yeah, I think the gothic themes continue. The set is magnificent. The costumes and the way they've integrated them into the ship and the coral and all the effects are absolutely fantastic. But then the actor is brilliant as well. You can't have any of that without a good actor. And I didn't quite catch his name, so you will have to remind me. But he's fantastic, and he delivers a gorgeous performance, and very creepy. Then we get introduced to the beast, the Kraken. And I have to say, this is the first bit of dodgy CGI that I noticed in these films, which is understandable with all the effects. They don't have the budget to make every single one of them incredible, and it's a brief shot, but it's when we see the first ship being sunk by the Kraken, and we have the wide shots of the ship in the sea and everything's still, and then it just gets pulled under in an instant. And the way the water comes up and the ship goes down, it just doesn't quite... It can be a bit jarring, and you do notice, and you think, oh, that's not quite right. However, it is an incredible introduction to the beast itself, because you don't see it, you just hear the sounds. You see the aftermath and what actually occurs, but you don't see the beast. And it's fantastic not showing what did this. Just the aftermath is fantastic. Then we get into the rainforest scenes where Jack and Will are imprisoned. And the location of this is brilliant. They did a fantastic job finding this location, and they really show it off with the helicopter shots, and the direction's amazing. So they really made the most of it, and it's gorgeous, gorgeous footage. And this cuts to Elizabeth threatening Lord Beckett and showing her dark side, which is really welcome in this film. She definitely has a much wider range, I feel, to play with, and just goes to show that she'll do anything for love. And Keira Knightley does a brilliant job, and I think she has a lot more. As I said, she has a lot more scope in this film, which is greatly appreciated. I go back to Jack for a moment. Him being imprisoned as a fake god. I just love as an idea the fact that Will's trapped and thinks Jack's about to rescue him, but him actually being in a better position to be able to rescue Jack is very clever. And of course, Jack being trapped means that Will be treated to a Jack escape, which equals brilliant television. The scenes of him being roped to the massive pole and Will in the cages and them climbing up the cliff and swinging back and forth, it's all absolutely hilarious and brilliantly done. Then another character introduction we have is to Tia Dalma, played by Naomi Harris, who is mesmeric. She is majestic in this film, I can't stress enough. She's so clever and mysterious. We have a similar scene to the Gibbs and Jack scene in the first film, where they're in the bar talking about using Will as leverage. We have a similar kind of major plot point here where Tia Dalma is discussing Davy Jones and the Heart. And again, I just have to praise how it's done, because the pace of it is perfect. It moves the story along brilliantly without giving too much away. It's absolutely perfectly done. And then we see another aftermath of the Kraken / Davy Jones by seeing the faceless crew member when Will arrives on the Flying Dutchman, which is terrifying and brilliant special effects. It looks incredible. And then we get introduced to Davy Jones, where the way he says, "Do you fear death?" The direction of him being so close, and you can see the tentacles, and the special effects team did a masterful job on this character. Because obviously every scene that he's in is a special effects scene that involves hundreds of hours dedicated to each scene. And you can, the effort they went through really comes through in the result, and the film's all the better for it. Because Davy Jones is the main character in this film, obviously, but he steals every scene he's in. It's fantastic. So credit to the effects team, credit to Bill Nye's beautiful performance. It's gorgeous television and terrifying. And then James Norrington makes a return, which was a big surprise to me, where we just see him at rock bottom. And the bar fight that ensues is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Then, contrasting to the comedic moments again, we're back on the Dutchman with Jones playing his organ, that I just have to praise the set on, because the dampness and the darkness and the steam coming out of it and all the huge pipes and the effects of Davy Jones playing it with his tentacles, and you can see the slime over the keys and the music box. A fantastic set, a fantastic dramatic scene, and a brilliant theme from Hans Zimmer. It's absolutely iconic. I can't stress enough how much I love it. Along with the main theme, he's a pirate. This is one that I go back to a lot just because I love the music. And then, of course, we get the meeting between Bootstrap Bill and his son, Will Turner. And the next scene where a Bootstrap is forced by Davy Jones to beat his own son with the Cat of Nine Tails. It's brutal and it's so memorable. I first saw this film years ago, and I went back to it recently, maybe before Christmas. And when I knew this scene was coming up, it stuck in my head so vividly from that first time I'd seen it. And it just gets more brutal every time you see it. It's evil from Davy Jones. And the direction and the shots and Will's reactions. Oh, the acting, everyone is on point, and it's just it feels horrible saying it's a beautiful scene, but it's beautifully curated, is what I mean, and it makes for brilliant television, so dramatic. And then we have the game of dice, which it seems like such a small scene, but I wanted to bring it up because the direction of it is brilliant. It's so intense. The three of them round the table, they're all acting their socks off. The set is being shown off as Davy Jones walks, as Will challenges him and Davy Jones walks down to the lower deck, and you can see the set reacting to his every step. The fact that it's all practical just benefits the whole picture, in my opinion. It looks absolutely incredible and it feels so real. The fact that they make this fantasy world and these insane situations feel so real just goes to show how incredible the designers are. And then we have another Kraken attack of the Pearl this time, which looks fantastic. The effects of the Kraken allow me to forgive them for the earlier shots because clearly a lot of the budget went into this and it shows, and I I cannot ridicule them for putting all their eggs in this basket because it's worth it. And the way they only show the tentacles at first, we don't see the mouth and the teeth. It's just the tentacles and them worming into each nook and cranny of the ship and pulling people through windows and cannon holes. Oh, it's a brilliant build-up. Again, with the sounds, the audio team have done an amazing job. I don't feel like they get the credit they deserve, but the audio serves as much as a part in this film as the designs and the actors. It's a brutal attack when the ship gets split in half. Oh my god, my jaw was on the floor. It looked so good. And then the next brilliant shot I wanted to mention is the transition. The camera's behind Davy Jones. We're looking at the back of his head as the ship dives under into the sea. That transition is absolutely epic. I don't know how they did it. It must have taken so many hours and so many people to perfect that. But it looks absolutely incredible. And then moving into the latter stages of the film now, you have the sword fight between Jack, James Norrington, and Will. This was a mixture of intensity and comedy, but they struck the balance perfectly. I feel like it moves the plot point perfectly as they're all trying to find the key, and Jack eventually gets away with the key, but then he gets stuck in the kind of hamster wheel that James and Will are fighting atop of. It's just hilarious, but so good, and Elizabeth's reactions are golden as well. When they're on the beach and she's just having this tantrum, it's so funny, and Keira Knightley does a brilliant job. And then when the chest gets stolen by the two of the comedy duo, I forget their names. But the way Elizabeth she sat down with her arms crossed, noticed the chest gone, and she just quickly gets up and sprints after them. It's hilarious. And also, and then we of course end with the ending, the brilliant cliffhanger of Jack. That epic shot of him just lining up with his sword, going into the mouth of the Kraken. It's fantastic cinematography again. Brilliant acting from all of them. From Elizabeth, from Will, as we get the kiss between Elizabeth and Jack and Will's reaction to it. It's so intense. The coldness in the eyes of all of them and the stares they give each other. The music swelling, obviously it's the big climax of the music's on cloud 9. That's the wrong phrase. Sorry, you know what I mean. All the themes have been fully developed. And then we get the reveal of Barbossa and Geoffrey Rush eating the apple, carrying on that motif from the first film. It's absolutely genius, and his entry is perfect. I'm so glad he's back. The more Geoffrey Rush we have, the better. So I was so happy when we saw him back, and obviously you just start to wonder how they brought him back. So yeah, always makes me want to watch the third film. Always makes me reflect on the brilliant experience watching the second film. I hope you enjoyed watching it too, and hopefully enjoyed listening to me talk about it. As always, let me know your thoughts. I'm always interested to hear what you think. And I'll speak to you soon to talk about the third film. Goodbye.